by.
And we are off and running on National Signing Day. Thanks for being a part of the program, and we're awfully glad you're here. A lot to deal with today. So many stories coming from very different directions, including some that could affect the national semifinals. Let's get started right now with a few headlines. In Oklahoma will be without 3 key players for the college football semifinal. That is a week from Saturday night against LSU. Starting defensive end Ronnie Perkins, running back Ramondre Stevenson, and Trayshawn Bridges also expected to miss the game. These are some pretty significant players as LSU gets ready to take on. LSU was already a big favorite, but now that could change even more as we get ready for Atlanta. Some other headlines to share with you. It is National Signing Day, and this is how it looks right now, and most do not expect a lot of changes. It looks like Clemson is going to wrap up the #1 position. They've had an amazing class. Alabama was #1 going in, has slipped, but because of some defections and some players that will not be going elsewhere, it does not look like Georgia or LSU or Ohio State will be able to get ahead of Alabama, but it looks like Alabama #2 behind Clemson. Where have we seen that one before? This is how the SEC looks as of this hour. Still some possible changes. LSU, a very good class under Coach O. Georgia at #5. Auburn moving up. Florida with one of its better classes in recent years. A&M. South Carolina just got a monster commitment and signing from Columbia, South Carolina. Tennessee in the top 20. State, Kentucky, and Lane Train way back. But look at that top 10. Alabama, LSU, Georgia, 6 teams in the top 10 for the SEC. So LSU has made it into the playoffs, and it usually for a good reason. It's called recruiting. 4 top 10 classes out of 5. 32 of the top 57 300 from Louisiana. 9 300 players. And of course, their most important signing, the number 298 player from 2015, Joe Burrow. So don't get too obsessive over some of the top names. Often it's the ones you least expect that do you the most benefit. So that's where we are on National Signing Day. We'll talk to some major players along the way, including Jeremy Pruitt. Has to be happy with his class. Benny Snell, former Kentucky running back. We'll check in with what he's been up to lately. Cecil Hurt joining us on the Alabama class, and Bo Bounds on Mississippi State. But first, your phone calls at 855-242-7285. So a number of interesting classes that we will report on, and let's get to the calls, and we begin in Louisiana with Dan. Hello, Dan.
Hey, Paul. Thanks for taking my call.
Thank you.
Paul, I'm just really excited about LSU's recruiting class. Paul, Dabo and Coach Saban, Dabo always seems to get top classes. And
well, hold on a second. Dabo is now getting top classes. I wouldn't say he has gotten them in the past, but this is Dabo's best recruiting class in his history at Clemson.
Okay. Well, like I said, he's a special guy. There's no doubt about it. And he's doing special things at Clemson.
Okay.
But
and what's your point on that?
Huh?
What's your point on that?
Oh, not anything. A lot of people are down on him, but because.
Well, listen, nobody is down on Dabo Swinney as a coach or as a recruiter. The only criticism Dabo Swinney has received is just from some of the antics and some of the things that he has said. That's it.
Right. Well, like I said, whatever he's doing, it's working.
Well, what he's doing, Dan, is he's built the best program in the country. That's what he's doing.
Right. But I was just, going to give him his adieu. That's all.
Well, I appreciate the call. Thank you very much. AC is in Michigan. AC, you're on the air. Go right ahead.
Good afternoon, sir. How you guys doing?
We're doing great.
Perfect.
I'll try my best to stay calm as possible. I wish you happy early New Year. Enjoy your Christmas holiday, including your boys, your background boys, and Smart Denny Brands. However, I do have the LSU Tigers doing the national championship. I'm pretty sure you like that news or that prediction. I would like that news or that prediction.
Millie is up next from Missouri. Hey, Millie, good afternoon.
Well, hi. How are you up? What you been up to lately?
Millie, I haven't been doing much at all. What about you?
Oh, I've been busy as all hell trying
Well, tell
to
us
get
about.
things.
Listen, I have not talked to you in months. Tell us what you've been doing.
Oh, well, I've been taking care of helping my neighbors out. They always have a lot of things that needs to be taken care of. And I just been hanging around. And every time
Millie, how has your health been?
Well, it's been pretty good. My legs are getting weaker, and that's what's troubling me. I just don't know what I'm going to do. If I've often said I don't ever want to go into a wheelchair.
Now, I'm trying to remember, Millie. Is it diabetes or something else?
No, it's the remnants of the polio.
Polio. Okay, from your childhood, yes.
Yeah, and when it came back with a whirl. I use my walker now to even walk around my apartment, and I really shouldn't, But
so sorry to hear that.
Well, anyway, I just wanted to wish you guys a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And what's it like being a godfather to, Laura's baby?
Well, Reese is as gorgeous as you. I'm sure you've seen her picture.
Yeah.
It's been really just amazing to watch. I've seen her obviously every weekend, and I was with her last week in New York for a couple of days. She's living there part of the year now with her husband, Josh, and it's really great to see.
Well, does she, when she takes and goes on trips and everything else and goes all over the place, does she take her baby with her all
Absolutely,
the time?
yes. I think Josh and Reese have been out pretty much every weekend that we've been together.
Oh, well, I didn't know that. I thought the poor thing wouldn't hardly see her mom at all,
No, anything but. Listen, she's only been a mother for 2 months. She's not letting go of that baby. Would you?
No, and plus, if she's nursing, she's got to be there.
Yeah. No, she's doing great.
Yeah, and do you know something? I really miss who I miss on the show. And it hurts every time I see the show. Why couldn't you guys keep John Hayes on the show?
Well, Millie, let me say that it was John Hayes decided to leave. We didn't ask John to leave. We thought he was fantastic. I think he's one of the best people I've ever worked with. And John got an opportunity to go somewhere else, and he thought about it. And John and I talked about it for quite some time. And in the end, he wanted to leave, and I encouraged him to do what he wanted to do. I would never, ever stand in the way of someone who was seeking to better themselves, and he felt like he had a better opportunity elsewhere.
Yeah, well,
and Millie, remember one thing too.
Yep.
I am an employee at this company. I am not in management. I do not make decisions. Had it been up to me, I would have given John whatever he needed to stay, but I'm not in charge.
I always thought you were.
Nope, I am not. And if you. I'll leave it right there.
Okay, and I don't know. I was so hurt this year. Did you have obviously watched the Iron Bowl, right? You were probably even there, right?
Yeah, we were there.
I wish I would have been there too, just to see you. But I tell you what, I think if Jalen Hurts had been there when Tua got sick or got injured or whatever, I think they would have actually won. Yeah,
but Millie, let me say this, and we have to go to a break. Jalen wanted an opportunity, and he got it. And not only did he want it and get it, he made the most of it. He was a runner-up in the Heisman. He's playing in the playoffs while his team is not. We'll take a break. More to come on this program. We'll update you on the rankings as we move throughout the afternoon. Jerry.
I've been learning new things every day. I've been, not rushing it, just taking my time, adjusting to things, and life has been good. I'm living my dreams. So I'm happy every day.
Well, you should be, and you have one of the most unique and respected head coaches in the industry. What's it like to play for Coach Tomlin?
Oh man, outstanding coach. I can tell that he truly cares about how I developed as me being a rookie right now, on and off the field. Gives great tips. A great coach. He has a different way of understanding players and their personalities, and where they came from. So, great coach.
And that is one of the storied franchises in NFL history. So I know it has to be a very interesting experience. I also know that when you play on a team like the Steelers or any other NFL team, you're so consumed with what you're doing, preparing for the next game. But I know you, and I have a feeling you've kept up with the Wildcats pretty closely.
And that's correct. I'm ride or die by my Wildcat.
As you look down the final 2 or 3 weeks of the season, what's on your mind? I mean, how do you see it ending?
I don't want to predict the future or nothing, but I'm always going to ride.
You feel pretty good about it?
I always ride for my team. So we're looking to finish these last 2 games out with a win, and we're going to see what presents itself after that.
And when the season finally ends, and I know you're not in a hurry to see it end, what will you do?
I'll either be going to the Super Bowl with my team, or I'll be, or I'll be getting ready for the next season in preparation.
So, in other words, the NFL really never ends, does it?
It really never ends. But this is what I wanted since I was a little boy. I wanted this. I wanted to be able to set an example for kids, be able to live my dream on national TV. So it never ends. This is my life. I'm happy.
What's it like, though, Benny, and I apologize for keeping you so long, but when you see young kids who want to talk to you, I mean, it's one thing to be a college football player, and you were as big a star as you could be at Kentucky, but now you're an NFL player. You're playing for an iconic franchise. That has to make you feel good when little kids stop you and either want your autograph, your picture, or ask you how they can get where you are.
Most definitely. I take it as a blessing. I take it as a blessing. I'm able to help kids with the mistakes that I made. I'm able to, lead them in the right way.
Well, this is the lineup on December 28th. SEC Nation at 2 p.m. live from Atlanta. And then the LSU Hometown Radio broadcast, an added feature to that, at halftime of the game, Greg McElroy and I will take phone calls during half from Finebaum callers, and then SEC Now on after the game. And we welcome you back. That's pretty cool. We'll take some phone calls from Alabama fans and LSU fans. Let's get back to the calls and check in next with Larry in Virginia. Hello, Larry.
Hi, Paul. How are you?
I am well, thank you.
Good. Paul, I'm an avid college football fan, more specifically an Auburn fan. I'm sorry about that.
That's great.
But
good you to be an Auburn fan.
In any event, I just wanted to let you know, I'm kind of sad when the season is over, but I wanted to let you know how great I think your show makes the season. Your in-depth analysis of what's going on, I think, in the SEC especially, but all over, I think it's just fantastic.
Well, thank you very much.
I think you're to be commended. And one more thing, Paul, if I may. I just wanted to wish you and your family a very Merry Christmas and a Happy Hanukkah, and I wish you the best for the new year.
Well, thank you for saying that, Larry. We all appreciate it, and I don't say this because it's anything other than the truth, but I realize that my name is behind me and people refer to it, but there are a lot of people that make this show great, and I am proud to be part of them, and it is a nice time of the year to kind of kick back and reflect a little bit on where we've come or how far we've come. Thanks for the call. Thank you very, very much. Let's continue with Christian in Florida. Hello, Christian.
Hey, Paul. How's it going?
It is well, thank you.
Yeah, looks like we had a pretty good signing day yesterday, early signing day. I'm happy well, first off, I want to get your thoughts on Bryce Young real quick, because I know he's such a highly rated prospect or whatever. I wanted to get your thoughts on that. And,
well, listen, everyone tells me that he is going to be fantastic. The only knock on him, if there is a knock, he's a little bit undersized. I think he's under 6 feet, which is not a good. Yeah. It's not a good height for a quarterback. You'd rather have a quarterback 6'2", 6'3", 6'4". But beyond that, I hear he's sensational.
Yeah, I think so too, because I mean, it's him, and then there's the Clemson kid, that DJ, however you say his last name.
Uba something.
Yeah, something like that. And then I think what really stood out to me, Paul, and what really stood out is just, how we recruited well on defense. And defense has been a struggle the past couple of years, but I really think that Nick Saban, knowing how it's been for him lately, knowing how he is, he's going to be on top of it next year. So, hopefully we can get that back on track.
Well, listen, Nick Saban understands talent evaluation as well as anyone. Thank you for the call. I do appreciate it. Ray is in Fort Wayne, Indiana.
Hey, Paul, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.
Merry Christmas.
Hey, bear with me for a minute, Paul.
I will.
Hey, you remember Jimmy Harbaugh when he came in there 5 years ago? He said he was going to not only beat you guys up out there, he was going to take all your recruits away. Do you have any idea why they haven't fired this joker by now? He's 0-5 against Ohio State.
Yeah, because Michigan fans are used to getting beaten by Ohio State, and they've come to accept it.
Yeah. Well, you know what his record? They haven't been to a Rose Bowl since 2006. They haven't been to a good bowl since 2006, really.
Well, listen, Michigan is a transactional athletic department. They make money. They win a lot of games. They don't win the games that matter, so therefore they're good. They've given up on being the best. That's remember that old car deal. Well, who was the number 2 car company? Was that Avis back in the day? I mean, their motto used to be Avis. We're number 2. We try harder. That's Michigan.
I know.
We can't. I mean, they just hard to admit we're not. We can't be. We're not good, but we try hard.
Yeah,
everybody
they
gets a
only
participation trophy.
Yeah,
right. But it's stupid to call for his firing, though. I mean, I used to say that, but now that I know so many Michigan fans who are accepting of where that program is. Ryan is up next. Ryan is in Texarkana.
Hey, Paul, how you and the guys doing today?
We are doing great. Thank you.
Just wanted to comment on something Tony Barnhart commented to a fan calling in several months ago when you were away.
Okay.
And the hire with Pittman, which I think I was taken aback like most, but I think that is a good hire. And Tony Barnhart was a fan called in, and he was talking about how his team was going to do. And Tony Barnhart said, listen, not taking anything away from your team, but the SEC is about the line of scrimmage.
You're right.
And if you can't win on both sides, you're not going to be competitive. Well, we've got the guy at Arkansas to be competitive on the line of scrimmage. Mm-hmm. So he will blend into that, and I think he's an excellent hire. He's not one of these flamboyant left lane, hammer down, whatever, but he's going to do whatever it takes to get the Arkansas program turned around. And as you know, like Nick or anybody else, you keep the best assistants around you can. So I'm looking up, and we do have some hope. I didn't call in for a while because things were so, I really didn't know what to say. But now, yes, I have hope for the Arkansas program, and Basil said the other day that he's a guy that can take 2 or 3 star players and make them compete against 4 and 5 stars. So there is a lot of truth there, and a divided locker room that we found out was a lot of Arkansas's issues. I don't care who you are, you're not going to win with a divided locker room. So this guy, he's straight, he's down to heart, and I'm glad we got him. I'm glad we got him. So Merry Christmas to you and all the guys, and hey, Danny B, hang in there, buddy, and Mark Kubiak. I was amazed at the last history of the SEC, the biggest play, and I'd forgotten about the Hunter Henry backward lateral after not making a first down that basically put Ole Miss out of the playoff at the time. And that I'd kind of forgotten about that. But anyway, just wanted to give you guys a shout out and, keep on doing what you do. And a lot of fans now are realizing, if you don't make the 4-team playoff, your life is not over. There's things to play for, and players want to play.
So I don't mean to be disrespectful here. Are you saying that to Alabama fans or other fans, or are you saying that as an Arkansas fan that hasn't won an SEC game in 2 years?
Now, you lost me there just a second.
Okay. Wait, we're good. I think we got the gist of the call. Thank you for the call. Ken is up next in Florida. Hello, Ken.
Yes, Paul, I want to wish you and your staff a Merry Christmas. Y'all do an excellent job.
Appreciate it.
College football for the SEC. And I want to point out something before I ask you a question and make a comment, that you're not God. You give your opinion, and you're not 100% right, but you're probably 90-something% right. You predicted that Willie Taggart would be fired, and he was, and you made several other predictions that's come true. Now for my questions. What kind of coaching grade do you give Kirby Smart and Dan Mullen?
Well, I'd probably give Dan Mullen a better grade because I think he beat the expectations this year. Very few people had him at 10 wins. I think Buddy Martin was one of the few people that I know who projected that Dan Mullen could have a breakout year. Kirby Smart, on paper, looks pretty good, but I just don't like I just didn't like the trajectory of the season. The loss to South Carolina remains unexplainable, and you can blame the LSU loss on injuries, but there was no reason that game was not competitive. And I think Kirby Smart needs to win this bowl game to try to salve some of the wounds of this season. Hey, thank you very much for the call. We are going to head to the break here. More guests to come, a lot of guests in a couple hours. And your phone calls at 855-242-7285.
I know today is early signing date, and each year it seems like a little more. This has become the signing date for more and more players. We were very pleased with the players that we were able to attract. I think we have 20 guys that we can talk about. We have several more guys that will either sign later or have already signed but have not released it yet, and we have agreed not to release it for them. So those guys we really, can't talk about. But I think this day represents a lot of hard work from a lot of people. We have a great team here at Alabama, and we have so many people that contribute to, recruiting the university community. Our administration does a fantastic job of welcoming these folks when they're here, spending their time to talk about academics. Our coaches work their tail off, their wives work their tail off, Ms. Terry works her tail off, and everybody in this organization in recruiting do a great job of trying to develop the kind of relationships to make people comfortable here and show them how they can be more successful in life for having been involved in the program, which takes a tremendous team. So, me. I know that all these classes get ranked and rated and all that kind of stuff, and I always say that how they get ranked and rated 3 years from now, is really, the telling tale of, how well this recruiting class really was. And we're pleased. We were able to identify some needs early. I thought we filled those needs. Probably the most important thing is I think this is really a character quality group of young men. We don't have guys that, have any issues or whatever, and They work really hard and been great teammates for the teams that they played for. So, we basically have 20 players that we can talk about and several others, but we do have room to continue to recruit, several other players. So, we're actually excited about that as well. And, you guys got this release of, how many guys have this many stars and that many stars, and this is all news to me because that's not really how we recruit guys. We kind of evaluate, critical factors at every position and recruit guys that, fill what we want to play their position here, at Alabama. And we're pleased with the guys that we've been able to attract.
And we're back. Glad you are with us. And the phone number here is 855-242-7285. A number of guests on their way up here. And Bob is in Ohio. Hello, Bob.
Paul, how you doing? This is David Neal's cousin again. I talked to you before.
Wonderful. Great to have you on.
Hey, gosh darn it, it happened again. It's killing me. The SEC out-recruited the Big Ten again.
That's an annual occurrence, isn't it?
We're always second. Yeah, it's never going to change, is it?
Listen, if you took Ohio State out of the equation, the Big Ten would look like the ACC.
Oh, no, I won't say that now. Penn State and Wisconsin do better than that. But, yeah, if they take those three teams out, you would. You're right. There's no doubt. I thought this year, well, we had 10 in the top 40, I think. So that's not bad.
I think the SEC had 6 of the top 10.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for all the kind words about the Big Ten. Apparently you ran out of material. Don is in Mississippi, and you are next up. Don, you there? Tried to be benevolent at Christmas, but can't wait forever. Chad is up next in Texas. Hello, Chad.
Paul, how you doing?
Thank you.
As a Georgia fan, I want to know how you think the offensive line classes in the SEC will translate to college.
It's always difficult to tell, Chad. Listen, Georgia has been exceptional at that position, but I'm not trying to act like I know too much about football. I depend on others to tell me what they think, but I think the offensive line is one of the most difficult things to project from high school to college.
And then with Sam Pittman leaving, how do you think Matt Luke will step up to coach those guys?
I think he's going to be great. Listen, Sam Pittman, I think, was considered the best offensive line coach in the league. But Matt Luke is no slouch. He's been around a long time. He's been a coordinator. He knows the position. I think he will be fantastic. I really do. Thanks for the call. Colby is in Arkansas. You are on the air, Colby.
Merry Christmas, Paul. How are you?
Colby, we're doing great. Where you been?
Man, I've just been I'll tell you what I've been doing, Paul. I've just been kind of reflecting on the Sam Pittman hire.
Okay.
And at first, Paul, I was like, man, who is this Bush's, baked beans guy, And instead,
he does look like the guy in the Bush's commercial. You're right.
He does. I mean, that guy looked like he either likes baked beans.
He also looks like he could eat a baked beans contest.
That's right. That or like he's a Waffle House spokesperson who just loves those hash browns.
Yeah, I mean, stop right there. Let's think about it. If you were a Madison Avenue marketing executive, and you were told, okay, you've got this guy Sam Pittman, you can put him in any commercial you want, where would you go?
Yeah, I would think like he would be perfect with a fake white beard for kids to sit on his lap at Santa Claus.
Yeah, he would be good.
So
he'd be good for
what
else would he be good for? Maybe deer hunting equipment.
Maybe deer hunting equipment.
I'm Sam Pittman.
I don't know.
When I go deer hunting, I use that kind of smelling salt or salt.
Oh,
what do you call those things you do? Salt licks.
Salt blocks.
Salt blocks. I'm sorry. You can tell I've been deer hunting a lot.
Maybe he would call it a salt lick. I don't know. I've never heard of that. Maybe he wants some more cowbell. But So, Paul,
I think it would be good, too,
Merry
for Waffle House commercials.
I just want him to eat some hash browns with me sometime. So
I don't think that would be difficult.
No, I don't think so. So, Paul, I did hear the interview that you had with him. So I do have a couple questions. Were you impressed with
Yeah, I was.
How he conducted himself?
Listen, I'm always
amazed,
impressed when somebody is real and I don't mumble under my breath, this guy's a liar. And if you guys could hear me in the studio sometimes, I occasionally will say that to the guys because I hate people who lie. And coaches, and you and I know when a coach is lying, and Sam Pittman does not lie. He's very authentic. He's real. He looks like your buddy down the street's dad growing up, and the guy you go, he sneaks you some Twinkies under the table.
He's the guy who clearly still push mows his lawn.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
He's just a hard working guy.
And by the way, he'll come and mow your lawn too if you're busy.
So I got a question for you. So we see Barry Odom, right, as the defensive coordinator, which is a great hire in my opinion.
Right.
But who do you anticipate? Because I mean, really, I'm in Fayetteville. Arkansas fans are on the edge of their seat, dude. Who do you think would be a great fit as an offensive coordinator at Arkansas? And I guess my last question is kind of a twofold. What do you want for Christmas, and do you think Die Hard is a Christmas movie?
I do. Well, Die Hard's that's always a debate. Die Hard's a great movie because it takes place on right around Christmas.
Sure.
It's hard to think of it as not being a Christmas movie.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, Christmas movie. I mean, everyone has time off at Christmas, and I mean, how many times can you watch Home Alone?
That's right. Which is basically a kid's version of Die Hard.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's a very violent movie. These two convicts,
yes,
get their head bashed in about 30 times.
It's almost as violent and getting scissors and cutting your ears off. It's
I have been through. I mean, at some point, Die Hard. I mean, around 3, 4, or 5. I can't remember which one it is. It gets ridiculous, but the first 2 or 3 are just spectacular.
I agree, and honestly, like 4, 5, 6, stuff like that, it gets ridiculous. It's, to me, kind of like a Dabo Swinney press conference.
Well, no, it's not that ridiculous.
Yeah. So, but what do you think, offensive coordinator?
Dabo Swinney to me is like the 6th version of National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation movie.
He's definitely Uncle Eddie for sure.
Yeah, I mean, like enough already. Get off my lawn.
Get off my lawn, Uncle Eddie. You keep putting all that Rottweiler feces down the drain. You're going to kill everybody just by listening to you. But anyways, who do you think?
You're trying to get us to do Christmas movies today.
I just want you to have a Merry
Christmas movie?
I want you to my favorite Christmas movie. That's easy. I would say any Paul Finebaum episode during the Christmas season.
Well, yeah. We've done Christmas Eve shows before. We will not do one this year.
Yeah, I would say like
I'll be at the North Pole wrapping presents.
Die Hard is up there because I consider it that. Christmas Vacation, Home Alone, those are all really good. And honestly, I would say the most most underrated Christmas film I think I've ever seen would be, so are you familiar with the singer Chris Brown?
Sure.
Yeah, it's just this family film called This Christmas. It's really good.
Okay.
So... But who do you want offensive coordinator, Arkansas, Paul? Right now, name drop somebody. We'll see if it happens.
Well, I need to think about the connection. I mean, you just can't get anyone to go into Fayetteville, Arkansas.
Sure. Well, we got Eric Musselman. He has no Arkansas connection.
You're right. Okay.
So I want Chip Long.
Okay, I'll see if I can handle that. Colby, thanks for the call. We are up against a break. More of your phone calls when we return.
Oh, yeah, the last 2 years we have been pretty doggone good. We're sort of back to where we got to beat Georgia again. Back in the early 90s when I first got here, to win we had to beat Georgia. And we were fortunate enough to do that, and then we found out we got to beat Alabama if you want to win the SEC, and that's still a fact of life right now today. But yeah, Dan Mullen and this staff, our strength coach, we got a good bunch of guys here running the program. I think we're going to have a big signing day tomorrow, and we're one of those teams that's on the rise. By the way, Paul, I do a little radio podcast. We don't quite have the audience that you have here in Gainesville every Tuesday morning, and we talk about sort of the best teams in the country and the coach of the year and all that kind of stuff. So we're having a lot of fun with that, and we've got about 18 to 20,000 listeners, I hear. So maybe I can be like you someday. We had our coach of the year, Ed Ogeron. He's the only one out of the 5 Power 5 conferences that wasn't supposed to win the championship. You know, you got all the usuals there, Clemson, Oklahoma, Oregon, and Ohio State. But LSU beat Bama this year, so they joined the party for this Final Four. And Joe Burrow's a big reason. And then we also had an assistant coach of the year, Paul. You ever heard of that?
No.
The Broyles Award guy, Joe Brady.
He's pretty good.
And Joe Burrow, you know, I think he threw 14 touchdown passes last year. This year he's at 48, I believe, right now. And Joe Brady came in with that offense. They worked on it all spring, and Joe and the receivers and the team worked on it through the summer, and they're still working on it. And I just really admire the attitude that Coach O has instilled in all these guys. They have not had a bad game. And if they can have 2 more big games like they're capable, they certainly can win it all. So really impressed with Joe, his family, and everything LSU has done. I'm impressed with those guys. Well, I don't know what Urban's going to do. Last time I saw him, he and his wife, she said, no way he's coaching again. But that was 4 months ago, it seems like, in August when Florida played Miami down there. And a lot can change in 4 months, as we know. So anyway, he's probably getting bored with the television, and he's probably, I don't know if he'll take another year off or not. He's only, 55 or 6.
He's pretty young.
But if he does go to Washington, he will bring a general manager with him. I thought I was getting a general manager, and I ended up getting the owner as the general manager. And when they found out I couldn't even pick what quarterback was going to play, I knew my time was up there. So Urban will be a little bit smarter than me. He will know who he's working with and so forth. And if he does go there, I'm sure Dan Snyder will give him a general manager and allow him to run the show.
We're back. Glad you were with us. Don't forget, tomorrow Archbishop Marino will make his annual Christmas appearance. He will be late in the program, final hour. Greg is up next. Greg, good afternoon.
Hey, good afternoon, Paul. Thanks for taking my call. You know, Die Hard is one of my favorite Christmas movies, and Bill Murray did one too called Scrooge. You ever see that one?
That was very good. Yes.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Bill Murray's a great actor.
Yeah, I think he's underappreciated, but he's in some classic comedies, and he also did some other dramatic movies that are lesser known that were really good too. When I watched the press conference that Nick Saban had yesterday, he normally uses a lot of hunting analogies and metaphors to describe his draft class or his signing class. And yesterday, he seemed to be more just happy, and I know he made reference to character, and I think that was probably a reference to departures he had from last year's class, Antonio Alfano and Yabi Anoma.
Yeah, guys didn't make it very long.
Yeah, and he, I think he was just really pleased with it, and he managed to keep all of his committed guys who signed with him, and flipped a couple, and I think they still have a couple spots left open that they'll pursue in February. And now, of course, though, is the time where we start seeing changes with assistant coaches now that these guys have sent in their letters of intent. And we'll be interested to see if there's any shakeup in Nick's staff. Have you heard of anything yet?
No, but I think it's common sense to predict that there will be.
Yeah, I think so too, and I know some people have talked about Golding, and I'm kind of on a fence on that right now, but I know Charlie Strong's available, and there's probably some other guys too that he could get. But I think at least yesterday, from his standpoint, he did really well and is satisfied. And as long as he's satisfied with it, I guess that bodes well for the team. So.
Yeah, listen. I don't know what I don't know what the coach is supposed to say. Like we always say on signing day. I mean, coaches have different attitudes. I mean, I thought it was interesting to compare Saban's approach to Orgeron. So we had them both here yesterday on the program. Great to have you on. Ansley is in Alabama. Hello, Ansley.
Hey, Paul. Following up right there on that question, going back to the Mr. Cranky Pants comment earlier, I thought you handled that very succinctly and truthfully. And it reminded me of yesterday when Saban came on. He was Mr. Cranky Pants, I thought, to the 10th power. Did not seem excited. And it was really pointed out by Orgeron's interview or press conference. I thought he did an excellent job, went over every person, what they did, who they were, just sounded excited about it. And Saban, to me, but then I got to thinking after you said what you said to the caller about Cranky Pants, hey, if I had to travel around like that and beg people to come, and I'd probably be Mr. Cranky Pants to the 100th.
Yeah, I mean, I heard him say the other day, one of the press conferences, "Hey, I've been gone for 2 weeks recruiting." I mean, that's very difficult to do. Many years ago, Ansley, I spent the day with a recruiter for Alabama, and we started probably 4:30 in the morning, and got back that night close to midnight. We flew all over the country, and that's just one day. Those guys, once the season ends, it's relentless. I realize that's part of it, but it does. Even in a private plane, it is still fairly grueling because it was one of the most amazing experiences I've ever had. Because in the span of about 3 hours, I went with this recruiting coordinator from Alabama, and he had to eat 3 different dinners. And I got him at one point. His name was Tommy Limbaugh. He's a good friend of mine now. And he told me going in, he said, now they're going to serve me deer chili, which I don't like. We were in Tennessee in the hills or somewhere in the middle of nowhere. And so after they served him, he gobbled it up, said, ma'am, that's the best deer chili I've ever had. And they said, would you like some? I said, no, I'm good. I didn't have to eat. So finally, just to be a jerk, which I can be occasionally, I looked at the mom of the player. I said, I think Coach is too embarrassed to ask you. I think he wants some more deer chili. So she was like, and that guy, I mean, he didn't talk to me the whole way back because he had to then down 2 bowls of deer chili.
Oh, my. Well, I just wanted to bring that up. I thought yesterday I got really disappointed in Saban, but after your comments today about all the mess you have to go through traveling, I compared that.
Well,
to
listen, I want to make it clear. What I go through is self-inflicted. So, but yeah, I'm not complaining. I want to do it. I mean, I love traveling and I love going places for this company. But anyone who travels, especially this time of the year, it can wear on you a little bit.
I'm sure it does.
No,
all right. Well, y'all have a very good Christmas and a happy New Year, Paul.
But
look forward to listening to you the rest of the year and the years to come. All right. Bye-bye.
I would never complain about traveling because frankly nobody wants to hear it. That's why when you run into somebody you haven't seen in a while, how you doing? I'm doing terrible. I did that today for the first time. A friend of mine asked me, said, "How you doing?" I said, "Horrible." And you just want to get the reaction because most people, you just say you're doing fine, Merry Christmas, keep walking. Do you ever say you're not doing well?
Yes. I
did that today when I walked in.
Yeah.
Of course, I was crawling in. That was part of the problem. We're only 1 hour down. Is that all we've been here? We have a lot of guests to come in the final 3 hours, including Josh Dobbs, who will be here in a few minutes. We'll do the Mount Rushmore for Tennessee.